What's up, everybody? Welcome to Untamed and Unhinged Reptile podcast. We got my co-host Eric
It's good, y'all.
and Big Flexin from Flex and Finesse and Reptiles. Man, we got a good one for y'all tonight. We got rat snakes and not king rat snakes. So we'll get into that. Eric, anything on you and Sark, brother? Besides what you said,
Um,
do you remember what it was?
uh, I think it was about a pearl river map turtle, but I don't know too much
I
about
thought it was
turtles.
it was yeah, I can't remember right now.
Yeah, but go check out USR's website. It's on there.
Well, I was gonna check out the. You sent it to which one? Big Flexer or Untamed?
I message you on your phone.
Oh, text, right?
Yeah,
Damn. All right. Well, never mind. Scratch that. Uh, I can't remember what it was. I didn't save it to myself. I've been busy all day with work, gym, and now I'm here doing the podcast with my co-host. So before we get into the show, I'm gonna shout out our sponsors. Just a quick little shout out for the sponsors. I love that, dude. I don't know why, but I do. All right, let's go ahead and bring out our guest. Let him introduce himself. We got Zach from Hay Serpent. He's gonna tell us what he works with, what he do. You know the drill.
What's up,
what's up,
guys?
Zach?
I appreciate you guys having me on. Excited to be here. Yeah, Zach Smith, Hay Serpents, located in Gainesville, Florida. Primarily working with Liasis and king rat snakes or Laffy carinata.
So king rat snakes. When you say king rat snake, are they like a hybrid? Remember, because I was asking you that.
Yeah. So king, just like any other stuff that's named that way, it's because it likes to eat its own kind, right? So they're snake hunters themselves, but they're entirely their own species. So they're in Laffy with some of your other rat snakes that people keep. And then they're their own deal. There's a couple subspecies. They're kind of locality specific. There's a small island off of Japan where we have kind of a Japanese rat snake. There's the all gray ones, if you've ever seen those posted. And then there's also a smaller one that's off of China as well. But no, they're entirely their own species. I
It's
like
too
the
dark for that.
I like the pit vipers though. I like the colors. I'm vibing with them.
Yeah, the pit vipers. Yes.
Um,
Yes.
but yeah. So no, they're their own species entirely. But obviously they're called king because they like to eat snakes, right? So that's always fun, especially when you're breeding them. You gotta kind of watch out for that. Um,
So when
and
you breed them, do you have to watch them? Like, do you have to watch them breed because they'll eat each other?
yeah,
Kind of like hog noses.
I'm masochistic, so I decided to only work with stuff that's gonna, potentially kill its partner when it's in the cage, right? So, Lias is known for eating snakes as well, or if not, just thrashing its partner. My male olive python I got from Sonia K. He's the last of like his parents because his mom smacked the shit out of his dad after he fertilized the clutch, for example. So yeah, once it's breeding season for me, I'm usually on edge quite a bit, hoping that pairings go well and I'm not dealing with bite injuries or a dead animal for sure.
So like, how's their metabolism? Is it high?
The king rats, it's incredibly high. Yeah, so they're compare them to like a Crebo, for example. I'd say kind
Okay.
of over there, right? Like they're an XL sized colubrid. Again, sexually dimorphic, so your males are bigger than your females. I have a male that's about 7.5, 8 feet. So he can take medium large rats without issue, even though it's a colubrid. But I'm typically feeding them smaller meals, once, twice a week instead of like your bigger python stuff, just because their metabolism is so fast. Um, and that's primarily it's from that running around chasing snakes too, right? That's where they kind of get that from. So um, I love them. I'm a big fan of them. They're not everybody's cup of tea. First thing you get if you Google them is that they're called stinking goddesses because they're known for their musk. So that's their nickname, and they can have a hell of an attitude sometimes as well. They get a little bit worse rap than they deserve. Frankly, I have plenty that I've had since like hatchling size that I would pull out and give to someone for educational reasons. But I definitely do have some adults that I got when they were a little bit older that you're going to want to use a hook for because they're a piss missile of a 7 foot, 8 foot colubrid.
Interesting.
When you pair them, how long are you leaving them paired?
So I have plenty of people that leave them locked up and don't worry about that. Mine go absolutely ballistic when they know food is in the room, and I try and keep food pretty high until they all go off during breeding season. So I usually do a usual like 3 on, 3 off. Once I get a couple of visual locks, usually I'm good too. If you look at my Instagram, I actually have when my Japanese king rats locked up this year, and then exactly when the clutch laid, and it was like 21 days, give or take, from saw them locked up. After that, let them like 1 or 2 more days. I pulled them at that point because, again, for me, I'm always a little bit worried about it. And then I had a clutch. She was going into pre-lay shed pretty much immediately. So, and with them, it's like a 14-day pre-lay shed, give or take. So
Nice. And it's probably not fun pulling 2 big colubrids like that apart. If they
pulling her off
get into it.
pulling her off the eggs was not fun. That was the worst part. She was not happy to get yoinked off of that pile. I was excited, so I was willing to eat it. But yeah, they're pretty moody when it comes to breeding season or eggs or stuff like that. Yeah. I have some hooks on a couple of my my big ones cages for sure.
So I see you got a guitar over there. Do you play guitar too?
Yeah, man. Yeah. I got my.
Are you in a band?
No, nothing formal. But I got my hands in a lot of different stuff. So, I got a half stack over here too, or at least 2x12. But yeah, music's another thing outside of reptiles. I'm into as well.
Oh, that's awesome, bro.
Yeah.
So what can you show us that won't bite you right now?
So all of my stuff nowadays, actually, me and Eric were talking about this.
Oh.
We're all in my shop. So this room right now is currently where I used to keep everything. And I have everything located here, like at my house, but I have that whole shop that I built out that everything resides in at this point.
Okay,
which looks fantastic. If you haven't seen it, go check it out.
No, I've seen it. Trust me, that's why I was like, I thought he was in his shop. That would have been dope.
We can definitely, and I have Wi-Fi, internet, and everything out there as well. So definitely can sometime. But it's not the comfiest place. I gotta get some seating or something out there because it's mostly set up for. I got music. I do have speakers out there just so I can vibe while I'm cleaning cages because it makes it easier to keep things nice and pristine for your animals if you like being out there, right? But yeah, I gotta get something a little comfier. Spend some more time out there.
So how many snakes do you have total?
I think I'm a little south of 50.
Damn.
Yeah. And then I guess temporarily, I think I'm going to be having a little bit of an influx at times. Working with Calubra over in Spain. Shout out Augusta and Mattia. And kind of holding some stuff that's due for export a couple times a year for them, as well as kind of sitting on any animals if people are selling them and they need to get rid of them, but they can't quite wait to ship them out for like our next export date. So, for example, we have an export date coming up in September. So I also have, on top of my own personal animals, which is that number, I have some indigos, some bull snakes, crested geckos, stuff like that that are going to be kind of moving in and out of my shop for export into the EU a couple times a year as well.
Damn, bro, how come we don't post like your indigos and stuff like that? That'd be dope.
So the indigos, again, I don't. I will actually have. I have yellowtails and blacktails as far as the Crebos are concerned. I personally don't keep indigos. I clean enough shit as is, right? So, like we said, the king rat metabolism is pretty damn high, and you gotta pick and choose your battles and know what you want to work with, right? In this hobby, I think it's important to prioritize the care of stuff more than I'd love to, right? Like Mexican red tails or Texas, or even getting a permit, which I'd have to since I'm in Florida, but getting, Eastern indigos. I would absolutely love to, but again, super high metabolism, super big colubrid, a lot of cleaning. As much as I have my hands in king rats and I have some more adults coming in this fall as well, that's probably beyond what I can take care of just myself. But the Texas and Mexican red tails I have coming in, they're eventually going over to the EU in September. But I can throw some picks up for the people that are interested in those.
If you ever get a Texas rat snake, let me know. If you
Texas.
ever just
okay, yeah, we can we can add it to the list. I got a big list of stuff I'm looking for in Daytona. So shout out to people going to Daytona Expo here in a month or so. Always love going down there, checking things
Are you
out.
going there?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, meet up with Zach, dude.
Yep. Yeah.
And then call me when you meet up with him. That'd be dope to see.
Yeah, we will. I'm gonna get you in trouble though, because I'm gonna start hearing Texas rat. Like, trust me, I'm gonna get the list together, and then you're gonna be in trouble because I'm gonna get the address from Eric, and then you're gonna be getting sent some stuff. So just watch out, because Daytona's trouble, man. Daytona will test your willpower. That is a wild show.
Yeah, I heard it's fun out there, but I'm not. When is Daytona anyway?
It's usually second or third weekend in August. I think this year it's 17th to 19th.
Yeah, I think you're right on those dates.
Yeah.
See, I'll be at Reptile Nation August 3rd and 4th.
Gotcha.
I'll be podcasting from there. I'll be on the podcast show actually with the guys that started Reptile Nation. So be Corey and Chase, I think it is.
Yeah. I mean, you can always double up, you could always double up. I'm just saying, like, Daytona's worth it,
I know I want to get out there, but I'm just like, man, get out there and then come back 17th. It's a lot.
It is. I'm telling you though, like, I think they even opened up another one of the rooms this year when I was looking. If you just go, so you see Eric's face, see, Eric knows.
I was just about to say, it's impossible to see the whole show in one day. It's like you can't see everything.
No. You end up seeing a vendor, and then you're like, man, I want to go look at that again. And then you're like, I don't even know where the hell that was. I don't even remember, because it's too damn big. It's insane. So
they're gonna open it for 3 days. Is that what you just said?
So Saturday, Sunday are the show days. Friday, if you're a vendor, when people are doing setup, you can hang out as well.
Okay.
Yeah. But Saturday, Sunday, and it'll still be packed full on Sunday as well. Go on Daytona, NRBC, their website, and just look at the vendor list. Like, I'll tell you it's crazy, but just when you pull up the vendor list and you realize it's like 10 pages, then you're like, oh, okay, it's worth at least checking out.
Yeah, man. last year they had 2 rooms. I call them rooms, but they're like convention center.
It's a whole convention center, so they have 2 halves of like the entire Daytona Convention Center opened up for just vendors.
Yeah, even the smaller one is still an impressive size.
Yep.
So that's crazy, bro. That's crazy.
That's Florida. I mean,
yeah, I get it, but here in San Antonio, we barely got the Reptile Nation Expo, and that one, it was big. It's huge.
Yeah.
Like, I go both days just because the first day I just hang out with everybody.
Yep.
And then the second day I go back to see, get the deals, be like, how much if I take this home right now? That kind of stuff.
Yeah. Day two, you want to sell it, right? So
yeah.
I'm usually getting too much. I'm a sucker, so I'm paying full on day one, because I hate when I've done this before at Daytona. It's so damn big. You walk everything, and then by the time you circle back, if it's something that's like people want, it's gone. There's just too much foot traffic, and by the time you end up circling back to like that same vendor table, that shit's out of there. So it's still like, don't let me act like day 2 it's not massive, but I get too attached to stuff. So day 1, I'm just breaking down. I'm just like, whatever, hit me with the day 1 tax, but we're taking care of this, and I'm getting out of here. So you gotta check it out.
Go ahead, Zach. Sorry.
Oh, you gotta check it out at some point. 100%. It's one of those shows that's just worth going to.
I want to check out that one in Pomona, but I mean,
Reptile Super Show.
And,
Tinley Park as well.
Well, Tinley in Chicago, I hear is better.
Yep. Yeah.
So I don't know. I gotta check out all of those. I need to get out there. I need to start traveling. Well, I just got a good job, so that's a plus.
There we go.
Let me start giving me some money,
Yeah.
and then I'll be traveling here soon. Yeah, I got in with Microsoft, so
yeah. Hey, congrats, man. I mean,
thank.
accruing. We all know how that goes with the reptile hobby. Accruing.
Yeah,
Accruing in cold-blooded investment. We all know how that goes. But still, congrats though on the new gig.
bro. And not only that, it's like a lot of investing in yourself. Like, how much did you have to invest in yourself? Like a roundabout number with the shop,
Oh,
and
and my
then merch. Yeah, and merch. Do you have merch yet?
No, that's next. I got the logo and stuff, so if people want to see it, let me know. Holla at your boy, but I want to drop that on some shirts.
So
So
I'm gonna give you a roundabout number. For me, I invested, I want to say about 15 grand, and that's in stickers, signs, clocks, lights, you know, everything like shirts, merch.
yeah,
See, like stickers.
yeah. Oh, I like those.
Yeah.
I gotta be CFO, financial officer or something of flexing. We gotta group this. I'd like to be on the flexing crew as well here, Um, so yeah, so I mean the shop I'm in for 40. I did quite a bit of it, but like delivered, built out, insulated. It has 240 power because it has a mini split run to it. I have water, electricity, power. I went a little ridiculous. You guys can look. It does have like soundproofing and clip speakers and a bunch of other like random shit that is not necessary for reptile purposes whatsoever, if we're being honest, But the way I looked at it is kind of the more I enjoy spending time out there, the easier it is going to be to get out there to clean snakes, especially on those days where you're dragging ass and like you have to take care of stuff because that's part of keeping animals is you have responsibility to them even on your worst days to take care of stuff. It helps a little bit if you want to throw on your favorite album in the background and at least rock out a little bit while you're doing it. So but that's what I'm in for, just the building. Animals and stuff like that over the years, especially with like stuff I've accrued caging wise and then like brought in and stuff like that. Shit, I don't know. I'm not sure. It'd obviously be on top of that number as well. And I have some dumb things that I've got. I have an albino olive from Nick at Inland. So I hope he bought some nice Corvette parts or something with that snake, because that one set me back a good bit for a single purchase. But yeah, I don't know. Over 50, under 100, somewhere in that range, I would say.
Yeah, you spent. Yeah, you did good.
Yeah,
You did good. A lot of people don't understand it's not easy.
it's been a slow burn, right? Like that's the thing that I think I don't know that I realized when I started out in this is it takes time. Like it's not overnight. You can want to get into it overnight. There's nothing wrong with that, but it takes time. For all the people that you follow on Instagram that have badass projects and you're like, fuck me, that snake's so cool. Why can't I keep stuff like that? That person was keeping lower level stuff and then like working on that project for years, like it's animals. It's not instant gratification, like, I wish everybody probably says this. I wish I started sooner. I did not live, like when I had roommates, I did not live with people that were fan of snakes. They were terrified of them. So it took me a while to get to the point where I was like established, living on my own, able to start keeping them. Once I did, it kind of snowballed. But I mean, I've been keeping stuff for 8 or 9 years at this point, I think, and year one, you're just kind of accruing some hatchling stuff unless you're buying adults, and I kind of picked Laassis and King Rats is mine, but it takes time, like it's a slow burn. It's a slow build.
So did you ever have anybody tell you like you're not gonna go anywhere with snakes?
Yeah. So again, shout out, not to shit on anybody, and I love my family, but not the most endeared of the reptile or cold-blooded hobby.
My mom too. Don't worry.
Yeah, I wanted to keep snakes when I was a kid, right? Like, just like anybody that comes on this podcast or talks about the reptile stuff, watch Steve Irwin, caught rat snakes in the yard, that type of deal. Wanted to keep them, right? Wanted to breed them. I always kind of had that interest. Parents thought I was absolutely, bonkers, batshit insane. I went to Cape Fear Serpentarium in my summers. It's in Wilmington, or was in Wilmington, North Carolina. Dean Repa, shout out, RIP. If you guys don't know that story, I would highly recommend you look into it. It's a wild ride from start to finish. But he had the Cape Fear Serpentarium, which was primarily venomous snakes. Dean was known for kind of learning the reproductive patterns and breeding bushmasters, which are one of the largest, if not like the largest, kind of pit viper species. And if you look up black-headed bushmasters, that was kind of like his love. He had quite a few of them at that facility, and they're insane. They like all vipers have that angular head, and they look pretty pissed off. But the black-headed ones just have like jet black on their head with like cream underneath, and they just look like their face just says "fuck you." Like, they're a badass snake. I don't know what else to tell you. For anybody that's never seen it, just Google black-headed bushmaster. But I would go up there in the summer, and I would like talk to Dean and visit that place as many times as I could. I'm from Florida, so I'd be visiting like family during my summers. And that's kind of what I did to like hold me over, right? Kind of like get it out of my system a little bit, at least like talk to somebody that is absolutely nuts, by the way. Another thing I would recommend is go read Dean's like books or bite logs. Dean has one in there, and we'll keep it, PC. But he said he got a dry bite from a hatchling bushmaster, but obviously there's still some, venom kicking around on those fangs. And he said that he was able to, smoke a joint so he could go out to dinner and then still facilitate things later that night with his wife. So Dean was my guy. Dean was my idol when I was growing up. He was the guy that I kind of like got to check out his facility and get it out of my system. I moved away to go to college, and I got a roommate, and still good friends with my roommate, but giant baby when it comes to reptiles as well. So didn't get to start keeping them there either. So it took until I finally like had my own apartment for the first time. And then started accruing things where I got to get into this and start keeping. And all of those people that weren't engaged or supportive of the idea then absolutely thought I was bonkers and batshit crazy for, starting to collect the amount that I did, starting to collect and then breed, putting together a building with that much invested into it, definitely have had some people thinking, what in the fuck are you doing? For sure. Yeah.
So I just checked it out, man. That snake you're talking about is dope.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're badass. Cape Fear was a trip in and of itself. Dean was a unique man. I mean, absolutely.
Oh, great. I just broke my stand.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, let me see. Hold on if I can switch it around.
That was an interesting anti-venom.
So yeah, Dean was a wild guy. Cape Fear, again, if you never got the chance to visit, I feel bad for people because it was just such a unique experience. He had black-headed bushmaster. So you can see it's just that like cream on just a jet black head with those viper eyes and that triangle. And they get massive too. Think like the biggest pre-bug you've ever seen, including like thickness too, and then add on like a foot or two on that. And it's a viper, it's a pit viper, wild looking snake in person. And he kind of figured out how they breed. I think they rub their scale. Yeah. They rub their scales together. He learned a lot about them and started kind of producing them captively. And then Dean himself, if you Google him, he's a bit of a devilish looking fella. Maybe a little bit, Dali-esque, and he was a bit eccentric. The Cape Fear Serpentarium, if you ever went, it had a bunch of anti-government propaganda posters all over the walls with venomous snakes, talking about Agent Orange and cell towers and stuff like that. So he was a really interesting dude. But that's where I got like my fill of the reptile stuff up until I got to the point where I was, on my own and able to keep things, living alone. Broke.
Yeah, trash. That's what I get for buying cheap stuff.
Business expense. Get a new one.
Exactly. Write it off at the end of the year.
Yep.
You know it.
Thank you, Microsoft. Yeah, time for a new one. Upgrade.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
Man. It's like you don't want to spend money if you don't have to, you know what I mean?
It happens, man. It happens.
But man, dude. So that was your role model. That was your idol. That was somebody you looked up to in the hobby.
100%. Yeah. If anybody in Central Florida wants to help a brother out getting his 500 hours he needs for Vipere Day, holla, because I absolutely would love to get my hands on kind of a black-headed Bushmaster from Dean's line, for sure. But yeah, that was him, Steve Irwin, whatever. We all grew up kind of watching, a little crikey, but he was at least like the guy I got to interact with. I have pictures of like me as like a young kid, like shaking his hand and talking to him and stuff. So maybe not the best influence, but was influential for me. So, and got us here. So yeah.
So how long you been in the hobby, bro? Like on Instagram? Well, yeah, Instagram, you haven't been on there that long.
No, Instagram, that's my girlfriend would be yelling at me. She, every time I get some followers or whatever, and I mentioned it to her, she when I was with her at the time, she kept just telling me to post. And nowadays when I, people follow me or I'm on a podcast or whatever, she gets a little bit of I told you so. But so not on Instagram for a very long time, but I've been keeping, I think, right at like 9 years now, as far as like keeping stuff, and then probably breeding. This will be my 4th year, producing something, whether it's Liasis or King Rats.
Man, bro, so now you got a brand, but like nobody knows your brand yet.
Yes.
So hopefully this gets you out there, so everybody knows your brand. You've been breeding for 4 years.
Yeah.
I mean, and you've been in the hobby for 4 years. You've been in the hobby. So what is your favorite part about the hobby? And what is your least favorite part about it?
Gotcha. Okay. We'll start positive. I think, obviously the animals is why we're all doing this. Ideally, I would like to think, I don't hate anybody for having a capitalistic take on the hobby, but I would hope that it's not grounded in like fiscal success and it's instead grounded in like a innate interest in the animals in the first place. Like, I would not have the amounts that I have. I definitely use the fact that there's a fiscal avenue to be able to keep more than I would otherwise, because otherwise you're feeding, like, we all know how much rats cost, for example, right? Like, if there wasn't any, exactly. So if there wasn't anything coming back out of it, what I have now is probably beyond what I would keep if it was solely like recreational. There wasn't any fiscal tie to it whatsoever. But at its heart, I would keep olive pythons and I would have a couple king rats if no one sold anything that wasn't breeding. I was the last dude on earth. Like, I would still want like my olive pythons. I fucking love my olive pythons. Like Flash and Iris, I got them named. Comic books, nerdy stuff. But like, then they're who I have from this year. But like, I would be keeping those regardless. So I would say, obviously the animals is why I'm in this hobby, but the people, I gotta say, massive shout out from just getting to interact with you guys so far and how kind you've been inviting me on. I sincerely appreciate. Although I haven't been on social media for a very long time, I've obviously been interacting with people and at shows and picking up animals and kind of picking people's brains to, figure out some species that aren't super common, right? King rats aren't exactly like ball pythons where you're going to hop on YouTube or, Google and be like, hey, how many days to pip, or when should I pull, or what's the best temp? Those type of answers don't come up if you Google, these type of species. It's something that's more knowledge transfer, right? You have to talk to somebody. And all of the people that like I've acquired animals from over the years and that have kind of helped me get to this point, I sincerely appreciate. So I would say that's the positive side of the hobby. Is ideally we're all in it for the animals, so that's going to be my first thing. But really, it's the people as well. The ones that I've gotten to interact with that I have positive things to say about have been impactful for me, and a pleasure to not only do business with, but also establish some friendships with, where they've been really helpful in kind of getting me to this point. And then you asked negative. You asked negative as well. So again, it's a slow burn, right? I think maybe just like what I said on the fiscal side of things, it's kind of sucks to see people jump into it only with that in mind. You know, I kind of hate that aspect. I also worry about this with, like ball pythons, for example. Sometimes, I know that's a hot topic in our industry in the first place, but when you see like the volume, sometimes I get concerned that, and I'm involved in this. I have some hypo clown stuff that I like just for fun. But get concerned that like some people are hopping into it only for, fiscal reasons. And then if you cruise Facebook Marketplace, you'll see racks getting rehomed with like lower level morphs and stuff like that included in the rack. And they want like $150 for it. And they don't care who they sell it to. You know what I mean? They're just trying to get the hell out because they thought that they were going to, be the
get rich.
Yeah, they thought they were going to be the next Brian Barczyk or, Justin or whatever, with no foresight. And not to, those people are not villains, but it's just people looked at them and thought they could do that with no foresight, no competitive advantage, right? No long-term plan. Just get rich, right? They hop in. And then you feel bad for the animals ultimately, right? Because that's where we see those like Craigslist rehomings and the people that do reptile rescue and stuff like that. So I would say if there's any type of negative, it's just people putting that like fiscal gain in front of ultimately what this should be about, which is keeping animals you want to keep and taking the best care you can of them, first and foremost, above all else.
And it's funny you say that though, because like here in San Antonio, we have Facebook Market page, of course.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of people, like I'm pretty sure every state has a Facebook Marketplace, but
Yeah.
But here in San Antonio, there's a lot of people selling their racks, ball pythons,
Yep.
and they're like, this one dude tried to overprice. I just like asked like how much for the normal. He was like $600. Like, bro, come on, it's a normal.
Yeah.
You're charging me $600, bro. So they're trying to hustle at the same time, make money, get out, but not knowing that it takes time to grow these animals and work on the projects you're trying to set out for.
Yep.
People don't realize like it's time consuming. Like you think you have all the time in the world, you want to do other things. I mean, like me, I have to make it work, bro. Yeah. I wake up at 5 a.m. I get off at work at 2. I go to the gym, come home, then I clean out all the racks, whoever's dirty, then feed whoever didn't eat the day before, because some are picky. And then I just got a new water, like a broadband water snake that doesn't want to eat my little baby quills that I put in there. So I went and bought him feeder fish, and they see these fish. That's what I was doing right now. Yeah. So I'm just like, man, it's a lot of time. It's a lot of time. So I always say this before you get into it. Go like to somebody's house. I say go get a mentor. Hang out with them for a couple of days and see if this is something you really want to do. Because then later down the line you're gonna end up like you say, they're posting up on Facebook Market. They don't care how much, they're just trying to get rid of stuff.
Yep. Yeah. And it sucks. It sucks. I mean, I don't know, sometimes I'll click on them because I'll be interested in the caging or whatever. And then you'll just see how bad it looks, and they still got an animal in there. And it's just like, shit, man, that doesn't feel good to look at. It doesn't feel good for anybody. And I would assume the person that sold them that animal didn't want it to be treated like that, So,
what's up, Sammy?
There's an aspect that's nice in keeping stuff that's not super common in MySpace, that nobody really hits me up to buy a king rat that doesn't know what it is or is a first time keeper. Nobody's really hey man, I want a 7-foot stinking goddess of a pissed off colubrid. nobody's like, is this a good first snake? So I don't have to deal with as much of that. Yeah. Answer is no. Wouldn't recommend it. And again, I gotta say, I have some that are sweethearts that I've had since hatchlings, but still, like size wise, metabolism wise, and just I don't recommend like starting something like that. But and that's one nice thing that I don't have to deal with as much compared to like people that are selling balls and stuff like that. But that's the negative side that we all see as the hobby. It's just the people that have the fiscal in mind before the animals. And that can apply to a lot of things too. That can apply to a lot of your wild caught stuff. That can apply to some of your sketchy imports, there's plenty of people that use reptiles, which is kind of a niche or outside of the norm type of hobby, as a get rich type of deal, because it doesn't really have like the eyes on it that some other type of like industries do, especially with animals.
So Don D. So what's up, Jack?
I'm digging the purple. Yeah, no, I'm digging the purple. I like it.
Yeah, Don D. Yeah, that's his favorite color. They call him Purple Rain.
Okay.
Purple Rain.
That's purple. My guy. I mean, there's a little Jimmy influence in the Hay Serpents and the purple and stuff. So shout out. I like it.
Hey Nikki. That's how you doing?
Zach, how often do your rat snakes go to the bathroom?
Pretty often, man. So I keep my liasis stuff on paper. I find
Lakers.
I'm in Florida, obviously, so humidity is not an issue for me. So all my Python stuff I have on butcher paper, and then I swap out obviously when there's significant bowel movement or urates. My king rats I keep on Aspen, and there's a reason for that, and it's because I would not be replacing paper twice a day or what have you. I would probably kill myself if I had to do that, right? So the absorbency of Aspen helps blot things up a little bit, and then I can spot clean, and then I do a full Aspen change kind of as necessary. With how I clean, I would say you're expecting like a small bowel movement still, like 2-3 times a week. So pretty similar to, again, like any of your like Crebos, false waters, any of your big active colubrids, pretty much in the same boat. But it's definitely way more than like my olive pythons that are eating huge meals. It's every couple of weeks, no big deal, right? So
that's what I'm used to. I just had python. I recently picked up he's still in quarantine. It's a Jensen's rat snake.
Okay. Yep.
And I have it on paper towels as well.
And then you're like, what the hell is
it's almost it's at least once every 2 days.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So smaller, it's different, right? It's like it's death by 1,000 paper cuts when you're keeping a bunch of them, right? So it's not like the same, volume, obviously, as like your big python stuff that's putting down huge meals. But because they just pound food and it's in and out so quickly, it's way more frequent. So yeah. I know some people with the indigos, they use that like small animal bedding, those like pellet type of stuff. It's super
something like this. I got that because that's what I use for my retics.
Yep. Yeah. I've seen some of the indigo people use that. I know the falsy guys as well, because they say it's like it turns into like dry concrete afterwards. It's bad. There's a reason I don't have false waters. But yeah. But if I learned, because I like the butcher paper. For me, it's super easy to keep super clean. And I try and be OCD about that. But with the king rats, I switched everyone over to Aspen at some point, because I just feel like spot cleaning and then doing a total substrate change as necessary makes it a lot easier for me.
Yeah. Those are things that no one really tells you until you actually like have the snake, and it's like, oh, this thing uses the bathroom a lot.
This worth asking. You learn. I also have it's not really something, it's just kind of a personal like of mine, but I have some of the arboreal boa species. So I have the Dominican red mountains. I have a pair of those, and then I have a pair of the Jamaican boas. Time out.
Wait. How come you didn't say this? Where are the pictures of those? That's what I want to know.
The red one right here.
Oh, that's it, right?
That's a Dominican red mountain boa. Yeah.
That's one of them.
Yes. Yeah.
And you have babies?
No. Although they give me a hard time. I don't know. I'm not good. There's a reason I don't mention them because I suck. I don't know what's going on. Like I've had them for a hot minute and no luck.
There's somebody else that works with him though, because I've seen him, and he has a bright red one,
Yeah.
and he's on Instagram. I'll find him and I'll send him to you, so maybe you can ask him because he breeds them.
Yeah, I think Golden Coast or Gold. There's a couple people.
No, it's somebody else.
Oh, okay. Yeah, send it over.
Yeah, he actually lives in the mountains though.
Okay. Yeah. Send
From where his pictures look like, they're freaking amazing.
I would love to pick because I'm batting 1,000. I mean, people complain about olive pythons and no issues over here. But when it comes to the boa, I don't have a clue what I'm doing. So,
no way.
Oh snap! Hey, there we go. All right, maybe.
I mean, I'll send you their page too. You can check them out.
I was gonna say maybe he helped me out. But yeah, so I got those and the Jamaican boas. Those you don't see a lot of because they're restricted because they're endangered. So you can only do same state sales.
So you can't like breed them and then sell them across states.
Not across state lines. Yeah, because they're restricted on the Jamaicans. Not the Dominicans though. The Dominicans you can sell. But we're talking about no one tells you or talks to you about like you don't learn this stuff until you get them. Their urates are the people that keep them know. I have no idea how to describe it. It's like, they pee and it should be a liquid, but instead it turns into like some type of like concrete mixture that stains everything. So you have to get like Redline sells those scrapers. I don't know if you guys have, seen those type of like, yeah. You got to break.
Bro, I'm looking them up right now. They look phenomenal.
I love them. They're awesome.
They're badass.
They're gorgeous snakes. They're pretty big too. Wildly strong too, because they're like a semi-arboreal, large boa. They feel like they're made of iron when you hold on to them. But again, the pee, I cannot just let me warn the people before you go out and buy these. At least like talk to somebody that keeps them or make sure you're signing up for that. Because I love them, but they might be the worst thing that I have to like look after out of everything I keep. Like huge olive pythons, like king rats with super high metabolism, and these damn arboreal boas that nobody told me about. And they're just concrete pee. It's the worst thing in the world. I love them. They're sweet, and again, they're gorgeous snakes. There's a reason people keep them, but nobody told me that. Nobody told me that beforehand.
Man.
Start scrubbing, right? As soon as you see that,
you got to get once it sets, it's over. It's worse than wine or blood or it's insane. And it just like even if they'll like I have super big water bins and all my stuff, and they'll do it like in their water bowl sometimes, and it'll solidify even with water mixed in with it at like the bottom of their like water bowl. Like it'll be in there with water. You'll dump the water and think like, oh, this is no big deal. It'll be entirely solid. Yeah. It'll be like someone mixed like Quikrete in the bottom of the tub and then, let it sit for a couple days. So you got to break out that scraper, get to work.
Damn.
Yeah.
How often do you scrape? Because it sounds like you're scraping a lot.
I'm bitching. I'm scraping a lot here, man. We're doing a lot of scraping,
I feel like, how would you scrape me? God. I would have just threw that shit out and bought another bowl. God.
We're doing a lot of scraping out here, man. We're doing a lot of scraping, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love them, but there's a reason that like I'm not focusing on arboreal boas, and that's why. There's a bunch of super cool ones that are semi-related too. Like Fords are super tiny. There's also Cuban boas, which I don't know if you guys have seen, which are awesome, and they get massive. And again, being in Florida, we're kind of restricted on the cool big stuff that we can keep. Shout out to all those laws that have been passed the last couple of years.
Are Cuban boas on that list yet?
So, because Cubans aren't there. So,
dude, their patterns are phenomenal, though.
Their patterns are crazy. It's got like kind of a mosaic on the back. Yeah. And Cubans get like good size. Cubans are impressive snakes. But again, I'm not dealing with any. There's no more. I'm done. I'm at my scraping limit. No more scraping for me. So no Cubans will be added. Although every time I see them get posted on Fauna, I'm like, oh yeah, no, not doing it. Not doing it. you got to know your limits, right? Like we all know. I mean,
but
we
it's
got
hard.
yeah, yeah.
It's hard because
The first one I saw in person was actually in Gainesville in one of those
Okay.
reptile shops.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
Like, was it a while ago or was it like
Yeah,
somewhat?
it was a long time ago.
Okay.
Long time
Yeah.
ago. I haven't lived in Gainesville in like 6 years.
Okay. Yeah.
I forget you're both in Florida.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, what?
Yep.
I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm in San Antonio.
We're
I'm in Texas.
Gainesville here. Gainesville. Yep.
So
Yep.
I was like, hold up, I'm confused.
Yep.
But I forget y'all both are in Florida.
Yeah, we're getting locale specific. We're going
So
insider baseball.
do you support US Art?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, obviously, right? Like, I don't have like a badge or anything on my, I need to bump it so I can, maybe throw a gold or something on there with my, business side of things. But like, I was donating to like Florida. I mean, when we were talking like tegu ban, conditional species, restricted species, like, I mean, we've been getting murdered down here for, I don't know, since like 2018, 2019. They've just been shoving nonsense down our throats. And I mean, like USARK Florida, especially, they've been going to bat for keepers in our state, right? So, and I mean, if you talk to people that stay pretty engaged, in kind of the level with those folks, there's always a concern, I think, too, with like, obviously our iguanas and tegu stuff is gone. And I understand, like, some of the reasons behind that, but it still sucks for keepers in the state. There's plenty of people that had businesses dedicated to that in our state, right? That just got wiped out almost overnight. I think I think there's plenty of us that get concerned now on going after just like varanids in general, right? Just like your kind of broader monitor species and stuff like that, that's always been an animal of mine. There's a couple in that monitor group that I've always wanted to like keep, maybe build an outdoor Happy Wednesday.
Kurt. Sponsors here. The sponsor. Sorry.
No, yeah, no, you're good, man. There's always been a couple of those species that I'd like to keep. Frankly, I'd like to build an outdoor enclosure for, but I've been sitting around on a little bit because I'm concerned that like with the way legislation has gone in the last couple of years here, especially, I would fucking hate if I got an animal, built an enclosure for it, got attached to it, and then they told me I had to like chip it. And then the next year, even if you have a chip, doesn't fucking matter. You know what I mean? Like you got to get rid of it or donate it. Like what happened to a ton of people in our state, right? So yeah, shout out, USARK, or specifically Florida, especially with what we're dealing with here. But everything that they're doing for the hobby, because it's much needed. You got to fight for your rights if you want to practice them.
So before we go any further right now, Zach, you need to shout where people can go find you. And if they're in Florida, stop by his shop. I don't know how that works. So yeah, that's why I say you gotta shout yourself out.
Yeah.
And so Eric forgot the banners again.
No. Yeah. So let's run some sponsor banners, and then for me, it's gonna be Instagram at Hay Serpents. I also am starting to throw some of my reels and stuff as shorts over on YouTube, and I'd like to get some videos out on kind of taking care of king rats and maybe some knowledge there. I don't feel like there's enough. So
John,
that coming soon. And yeah, I'm also located in Gainesville. If you want to go on my Instagram, I also have my morph market linked on there as well. So any availability, if you want to give the store a follow, I should have olive pythons. I actually have olive pythons hatching today. Got my first pip.
Hey, congrats.
Yeah, and should have quite a few king rats coming up in the store later this fall as well. And yeah, I'm always open to having anyone kind of view where I keep things and how I keep things. You just kind of have to reach out to me to do that because it is like my home as well. But have an open.
Hold up.
Yeah.
I need one of them.
An olive?
Yeah.
I got
those things are amazing. I was like, hold up.
Yeah. I got 15 of them. So this is my first year of success with the olives. Some of my faves for sure. I also have I have some albinos, maybe probably not next year, but the year after. I'm hoping for albinos as well. We don't have a ton of morphs in the Alaska space, but I do have a albino post on there quite a bit named Zero. That's my male.
So educate me on these olive pythons. How do I keep them? What do
Yeah,
I
so
keep them in?
second largest species in Australia, so pretty damn big. You're coming below like your scrubs, your big barnecks as far as like size. But if you've ever seen, there's a really viral picture back in the day. It was a while ago, but it's of like a rock. It's like red rocks, like red clay is almost what it looks like, and it's an outcropping. And there's a
Yeah.
snake on the ledge, and then he like goes down, and it's like water, and there's like a hippo wallaby looking animal. It's a wallaby. The snake that's pulling that animal up and on that outcropping, it's an olive python. So massive fan of them, massive fan of Liasis, which is the genus in general. Kind of got into them through obviously my guy Steve Irwin. If you wanna, there's a clip on YouTube for people that haven't seen it. Just do like Steve Irwin TV show bit, and he's got a water python, which is cousin to the olive, same place, same genus, Liasis. Keep him as well.
What's up,
And
Fred?
what's up, Fred? And it's around his neck, and he's telling the TV news reporter how it's not venomous and it's not going to bite him. No big deal.
Oh yeah, they bit him.
And then that thing latches right onto his neck. And
And
then
he's like,
she's like, "Did it hurt?" He's like, "No, like it's fine. No big deal." So I mean, obviously, we all love Steve Irwin. I mean, great influence in the animal world, right? But that was a water
course.
python. So when I got the opportunity to keep snakes, and I was like, that's kind of cool. I was like, kind of cool to keep something that's like out of Australia that like our boy was getting bit on, on live TV. So I started with waters, which are smaller than your olives. The olives are the big boys of the genus. My pair that just went, I'd say the male is like 8.5 feet. Female's probably like 9 at this point.
That's not bad. That's as big as a dwarf retic now.
Yes.
Nowadays.
I would say that's what you could compare them to, is like super dwarf on the big side or small side on like the dwarf, as far as like sizing. If you follow some of the people in Australia, they post some monsters occasionally where they've been feeding them heavy since they had them as hatchlings. And we're talking like, whole chickens as like adult males. So they can get like, 30, 40 pounds on like the top end. But I have my male that's breeding 8 pounds, maybe. I mean, so there's a pretty big discrepancy as far as like healthy adult size and just like retics or whatever else got hammered with food and like, really, or it's just a large adult animal. You see plenty of huge ones again, like that viral picture of that outcropping.
So how old do they have to breed to breed?
So they're bigger. They are a bigger snake, right? And I'm pretty conservative on how soon I kind of breed in the first place, like age wise. My female that went this year is a 2018. So I mean,
Damn, okay.
yeah. So she would have been
That's 5 years old.
She would have been right at like 5 the fall when I started pairing her up. 2023. Yeah. Yeah. And I would say that's par for the course. There's plenty of people that work with them that have a hard time getting them to go with even like 6, 7, 8-year-old animals. They don't seem like the easiest to pair for whatever reason. There's some people that do really well with them. Nick, Inland Reptile, Sonia K Reptiles, she does a really good job as well. Dennis with DJM as well. He does really, really nice job. But Molecular Reptile, Ryan Young up there. Ryan's produced everything under the sun. Go browse his Instagram sometime. It's a wet dream for a reptile keeper.
Everybody you just listed right now, I need you to send me their page when we're done so I can check them out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I'd love to shout these people out because I have animals from each of the people I've mentioned. But even Ryan, like he's done I don't know, he's even bred Dunn's pythons, which is a whole interesting thing in and of itself. They were like 30-year-old ex-import animals. They're basically almost extinct in the hobby, and he got them to go. So he's a wizard, and even he hasn't had olive pythons go until I think this year was his first year getting them to go as well. So they can be pretty finicky for whatever reason. They're just one of those species that are kind of known for being hard to breed. But yeah, my female was coming up on 5 years old this fall or last fall when I bred her. And my male I had got as a 2016, so he was 6 years old himself as well.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what temps do they stay at? Like normally, what do you keep them at?
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of keep it simple, stupid. Frankly, right? I think Dennis, that's something I kind of got from him as well. I'm talking to him about how he breeds his olives and stuff. Again, I'm butcher paper because I'm in Florida. I don't have issues with humidity. I provide adequate hides. I have pretty big shelves in my adult olive enclosures that are like fence posts almost, so they can perch. I also
Nice.
put a sky hide in all of my enclosures, which is again just a regular hide flipped upside down and put to the top. With a few companies make, I think Reptile Basics makes them now. Like they make a mount to actually mount it to the ceiling.
Okay.
They don't make it for the XL hides though. They don't make it for the big stuff that like I need. So I use mirror mounting clips for like what you would see in like a rental house that holds like a mirror on the wall. I mount those to the ceiling, and then they can turn. So then that way I can put the hide in and I can lock it in, but then I can move those clips so I can pull the hide back out and clean it. Because obviously sometimes they're gonna shit in it, and then you don't want to have to be like breaking out the screw or the drill to back it out and clean out the hide. I have my adult females or my adult males in either 6x2s right now. I have some 8x2s coming from Animal Plastics for my bigger adults. I'm going to move them into the next biggest size. And then temps wise, either 80 or 120 watt, radiant heat panels, choose your brand, whatever. I give them a pretty hot spot, but again, with like the 6-foot or 8-foot cages, they have enough room to kind of get away from that. So they have anywhere from like 78 ambient up to 90, 92 available in their cage.
Damn. Okay. Okay.
I love them though. I mean, again, not everything in my collection is named or has a name. My olives absolutely do. And even if, I don't know, if something happens to me tomorrow and I can't scrape anymore, I'm going to have to get that Neuralink from Elon just to do some tasks or something. I get hit by a bus. I'm still paying somebody to take care of the olive pythons. Like those aren't going anywhere. So over my dead body that I would get rid of those. So they're definitely some of my favorite snakes that I keep for sure.
Gotcha. Okay. And so what is what's been the most rewarding working with the reptiles for you, or most rewarding for you
Yeah,
working
so
with reptiles?
I mean, I think seeing it play out a little bit, we talked about it a little bit, like it's a slow burn, right?
Yeah.
The olive pythons I've had for, I mean, again, they're coming up on 5-6 years old, took until now for them to even show any signs of being able to go. And then, being able to keep an animal you like working with, you like keeping for 5-6 years, and then finally like be able to reproduce them and have them have like a healthy clutch. And then hopefully get them into more people's hands and teach them about how awesome olive pythons are. That's what I get a kick out of, right? Like it's fun to be able to interact with something that like lives in Australia. I think that's badass. I think it's kind of cool to just like be able to go out to my shop and be like, as long as I provide the right environment, I get to interact with this animal that otherwise like is in the wild in Australia, which is why I think we have a little bit of responsibility to give them the best environments we can. But I just think that's badass. And then to be able to like see them eventually lay eggs 5-6 years later. And then I saw my first little head pop out today. That's a cool feeling for me. That's what I get fulfilled by, So I think that's the most rewarding part for me, for sure.
100%.
And you're in a good market too, because a lot it's not oversaturated, saturated. I mean, there's not many being produced.
Yeah. So I mean, I will say I appreciate that I've chosen maybe things that are a little bit different. It's for sure helpful. And again, same thing with the olive pythons. nobody. I hope so. Please don't contact me for an olive python. It just let's not do that. Start somewhere else. Please. That seems ridiculous to me. I didn't start there.
What's up, Carissa?
What's up, Krista? I like the purple. But I don't get a lot of people that are brand new keepers, and there's nothing wrong with that. If I was in a space that I had brand new keepers, that's on you to educate them a little bit, right? But I mostly get to interact with people that know what they're looking for and know what they're buying. So it's more so kind of fun to have a conversation about like, man, I've always wanted to add an olive python. Now I'm in a spot where like I can put together a 6x2 or an 8x2 and I can buy the snake. And then it's fun for me to have that conversation with someone that is in a spot that I was in not that long ago. So definitely agree. I feel fortunate a little bit that my personal interest ended up being some stuff that's maybe not as popular. So I deal with people that maybe are a little bit more knowledgeable, and I don't get a lot of tire kickers, although I still do get some, as we all do, and we've all experienced before. But yeah, I do feel fortunate in that regard that like kind of have a little bit of a niche as far as stuff that I work with.
Hell yeah, that's awesome, bro. I like that. Man,
You
we already killed an
tell people
hour.
a lot. That's not a great first snake, I guess, like the king rats and the olives. Like, do newer people actually hit you up?
I do get some. I did get someone that messaged me about buying a king rat, and then the questions were so. It was like somebody never even kept a snake before in general, right? Which like, and there's nothing wrong with that, but the questions asking me as like a seller were beyond like even what I was comfortable. Like, I didn't have a good feeling that if I sent an animal to this person that like, like, I mean, we all know we've all had interactions with people. It didn't feel like someone that, because Google and stuff exists as well, right? Like my first response to somebody wouldn't be like, how do I set up a hatchling tub for something, or I've had people wanting to buy stuff and put it in like a 40 or 60 gallon immediately, and I mean, if you make it like bioactive and there's a ton of hiding spaces and stuff like that, sure, go for it. But like king rats when they hatch I mean, they're tiny. They turn into really badass animals. And actually, on to genetic color change. I didn't shout that out, but that deserves getting shouted out because that's one of my favorite things about the king rats. Similar to the green tree pythons, right?
Yeah, I didn't know that they did that as well.
Yes. Okay, so we'll tangent, and then I'll come back to your question.
Yeah, go ahead.
They hatch beige. They're the most boring looking hatchling snake you can ever. I'm talking like millennial rental like home beige. Like it's bad. It's not. They look evil because they have very forward set eyes to run down snakes, and they also have the slit eyes. So like they look really fucking angry at you when they hatch. Honestly, like they look devilish, but they are beige brown and tiny. I mean, 20 grams, maybe less, maybe a little bit more. They're not a big snake till they start shedding, right? And then that's when they end up is like, it depends. There's morphs out there, and that's also kind of the fun part too. But they end up jet black and yellow, right? Because when they're adults, there's not a whole lot that's messing with them, I mean, they're called the king for a reason because they're running stuff down, and they're huge. I mean, they're not a small animal, but obviously when they're hatchlings, they got to blend, they got to hide. They're very drab looking, not an exciting animal. But when you pull out adults, and I have some on my Instagram if you guys want to check it out, but it's like the high yellows and stuff like that, you would have no clue what that looked like as a hatchling. And then when it's an adult, I mean, it rivals like any jungle or jaguar carpet python, that same type of like, oh shit, like this is like highlighter. That's kind of the fun thing as well with the morphs in these species as well, is you have no clue sometimes if they're visual or not. Xanthics, which I have some, are jet black and white, right? They don't have any yellow. The yellow's gone completely. But if you put a Xanthic hatchling up next to a normal one, no clue.
So you have to wait till they go through their change to figure it out.
For people, so that's an Xanthic. That's an Xanthic right there. But if you put that next to your kind of normal one when it hatches out, you're not going to have any idea. Like if you have like a split clutch, if it's not, 100%,
Oh man,
you wouldn't have a clue until you get to enough sheds where all of a sudden you're starting to see that lack of pigment from the xanthic gene. But like, so that's my albino olive 0. So that's my, that's my, that's one of my over my dead body ones for sure, right there. So,
that's gorgeous. Yeah.
So that's I have eggs from in the incubator. That's the Japanese kind of subspecies. It's a locality that's in Taiwan in a really small island off the coast of Japan. So that's also a king rat, but it's that all gray instead of that kind of like jet black and yellow. So king rat as well, but this one is a lemon yellow. So I don't. People need to talk to Augusta and then the people exporting these from China on some of the names because I don't love what we're calling. Some of these morphs are ridiculous. I put this one up as lemon pepper on my IG, but it's called lemon yellow. But again, it's a recessive king rat morph. Same thing though with that one on the ontogenetic color change side of things. They don't hatch really looking all that impressive. Like they're not beige, but they're kind of just a dull drab white, and none of that yellow exists. That yellow in the head, and like that one's like a juvenile, so it's still coming in more and more and more.
That's awesome.
Every shed is like when you start to get like that yellow start to come in, even with that morph.
I think that's my favorite morph right there.
The yellow. Yeah. There's I have an ivory coming this fall as well. I don't have any ivories currently. Palm Beach colubrids. Jonathan down there has some ivories. If you guys want to check out his page. And
he's just dropping some heat on us, sir. I told you.
And Amazon Reptile, Mike out there. He's got some ivories too. So the ivories and lemon yellows look real similar. We don't know if they're allelic or not. They might be. Because they're very similar looking, right? But no one's done a lemon yellow to a ivory yet to see if you get visuals or if you just get double hets. I think that's being done this fall, actually. So we'll get an answer there. But I think the lemon yellows are some of my faves, frankly. There's also granite lemon, and you'd have to cruise Colubra Reptile, their page to pull up one of those. But those are wild looking. They look like confetti almost. I don't know how to explain it. It looks like very like New Orleans, like party on a snake almost.
Wow.
I was gonna ask you like, what is your favorite project, but apparently it's the olive pythons.
So, good and bad. I don't know. It would be hard because the thing about the king rats is like the olives. We kind of have what we have, and there's nothing wrong with that. I love them as is, right? Like, but we have olives, and then we also have albino olives. They're never going anywhere in my collection. But with the king rats, just a regular king rat is a badass snake because again, it starts beige and goes to this adult black and yellow. Like they look amazing, but there's so many more traits available. Venomous HQ. Hey, I hope he's still doing okay if he's from Venomous HQ. And
no, brother, he passed away.
Oh, sorry to hear.
Yeah, he passed away.
Sorry to hear, man. But I appreciate.
He was a good friend. He was a really good friend. He worked with Venomous. That's why his name's Venomous HQ. Yeah, he used to work with cobras, Black Forest cobras, you name it, brother. Yeah.
Hey, well, I appreciate. I mean, hopefully, if I'm getting a reminder, it's I appreciate that. I'm sorry to hear you guys lost your friend there. But yeah, so no, I mean the king rats. It's hard because again, there's so much more to be done or to do with those. I have the xanthics, and then there's T positive and T negative albinos in king rats. So I'm gonna have some double het snows.
This that would look cool, snow king rat.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Benjamin. So I'm gonna have snow.
Hold up, now I'm just like I should wait now because they're producing some stuff that I should just really, really wait for. Man, it's hard, bro, because he has some badass species that I never knew existed till right now.
Yep.
They were probably out there, but like I didn't go that far deep. I only went into like the retics, king snakes, hog noses. What?
So I'll get you addicted to it again. Like Amazon Reptile out in California, Mike out there. I appreciate it, man. Mike out there, Augusta, Amatia, Calubra. They're over in Spain, but they bring a lot of stuff into the States that's phenomenal, and through China as well, which is where these are from. So they get some of the newer morphs that are coming out of there. And then again, John down at Palm Beach Colubrids in Florida as well. And I think they're vending Daytona if people want to check them out at that show. Go hit up any of their pages and just cruise their king rat stuff because it'll get you addicted. It'll get you addicted quick. They're not a very common thing. You just don't see them a ton, you know? So I don't think people know about them. But I started with kind of an albino and het albino pair, and then I just kind of went down the rabbit hole.
I would have gone down that rabbit hole too with you. Yeah.
I'm bringing. There's some stuff that's coming over this fall as well that I'm bringing in from over there. That's like it's all different as well. Bringing in a specific snake that's all black. Actually, his name is Vader. So he's an adult, but he's wild looking. So he's coming over, and then there's also some dark purples. That's a really cool looking morph. And then again, yeah, kind of working on that snow project. And then some like high yellow hypo stuff too.
Bro, I'm like dark purple. What the hell? Oh.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, if there's a way to get you like photos, that I can get them over to you right now. But,
yeah, there is. Just send them to me on Instagram. I can download them real quick.
I got you.
Yeah, hell yeah, bro. I got you.
I like
Okay,
the
so
look of the king rats too.
What was that, Eric?
Yeah,
Like they look like just how the eyes are a little bit more forward in the head.
It's because they chase snakes. They got those forward set eyes a little bit, and then they got a pretty big pupil, and then they got the cat eye. They got like the slit as well. They got a look that very few things like have. You know.
Yeah, it looks pretty sick.
It matches the attitude, to be honest with you. But yeah.
exactly. So you know my favorite color is yellow. Just throwing that out there.
Just okay. So then let's get you some high yellow stuff, man. I mean.
Yeah, I got two like a platinum retic. I got a albino platy. There was something else, man. I can't remember it all. But his name's Ichigo. And then I got Zenitsu from my platy's Zenitsu, and then I got Nezuko. I named them after animes.
Dude, I wish. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I got some. I like the names, and then I obviously wish being in Florida. I mean, when I was a kid, I always wanted to work with like big stuff, right? Like that was the dream. Alligator Farm in St. Augustine, Florida. Badass place. If you guys are ever up there, can't recommend it highly enough. You know, they had like albino berms and stuff that like you could like, you know, get like draped over your shoulder for like picture and stuff. So I got some of those like when I was a kid. And then obviously, you know, come up and get started, don't have the space to take care of one properly. And then by the time I was in a spot where like now, right, if I wanted to have a 10-foot cage, who gives a shit, right? I'm good to go. But shout out, you know, Florida, it's over. So, but yeah, the retic stuff as well, man, I love that. So be proud of the fact you're able to keep that stuff. Because for some of us, Florida, even the guys in Georgia now, you know, we can't get our hands on some of that stuff anymore. So,
Bro, I'm like really proud when it comes to my retics. So I used to be like heavy into the ball python game, and I don't know because I haven't talked to you much of that since the podcast. But I bought 50 ball pythons thinking I was gonna get rich quick. Yeah, that's how I got into the game.
Uh-oh, shit.
50 ball pythons. My mentor was like, buy that snake, buy this snake, buy that snake. And I just felt like he was making me spend money because I had the money, you know.
Gotcha.
And then I had to get racked.
Yeah.
So now that I got out or slowly started getting rid of the balls, I kept what I wanted to work with, which are the pieds.
Okay.
So I have an albino male pied. I got a Xantic pied, you know, you name it, ultra male pied. So now I just work with what I want to work with on the balls. So and then I jumped into the retics, and then Zenitsu and Nezuko became the face of Flex and Finesse and
Yeah,
Reptiles.
but that's. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's someone leading you astray, right? Like that's that's how it should be, right? Like once you bought all those, and then once you thought about it, you're like, I like Pides, and then I'm gonna get in the retic game, right? Like even if Pides the market were to go south or whatever, if you enjoy working with them, who really gives a shit? I mean, like at the end of the day, if it's paying for food, if at least it's just like helping you keep them and provide and take care of them well, then like I mean, you're doing well then. That's more than a lot of people can do. So, but that's the difference versus like when you just start out and you just like get that like sticker excitement. You look at what the big dogs are putting out, and they got the Desert Ghost, Hypo, Clown, Red Stripe, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you're like, oh, it's a $5,000 snake. I want to make that. But there's no like, do you actually like that, or do you just like the fact that it's $5,000 and you want to try and like sell a $5,000 snake? Like I feel like if more people could have that conversation with themselves, like you did, where you're like, I like pides and I think retics are badass, we would all be better off because we would all be keeping some stuff that like we're actually fans of instead of just being like, oh yeah, I could sell this for a shitload of money. Like, cool, but it's still an animal. You know what I mean? Like, it deserves like some respect and care at the end of the day, beyond it being like a dollar sign.
Yeah, 100% agree.
Hey, I dropped you a bunch of stuff on Instagram just now. So
Yeah, I think he's checking it out right now.
Yep. So feel free to pick and choose how you so see. Um, Eric, you were asking about, beginners and do I deal with that? We talked about it a little bit, and then I said we went on to the genetic color change. I got too excited. I went tangent. I knew we were, but
No, I appreciate it. I didn't even know that information.
yeah. So that's one of the reasons it makes them really really cool though. It's like they hatch, and you're just looking at a pile of beige snakes, and then especially if whether it's a kind of line bred trait like the high yellows, or it's a recessive like the lemon yellows or whatever. Once you see them start to shed out, it gets really hard for me to sell them. Frankly, I always end up holding on to like a couple every year just because I'm really curious what this one looks like with a couple more sheds in it, and then a couple more sheds turns into so that's Vader. So again, that's a king rat. So that's just like
That's gorgeous, bro.
black yellow ones, but he is all black. So don't know if he's genetic yet. Yeah. So hypo top, dark purple on the bottom.
Those are Hypo King rat snakes.
Yes, at the top, and then purple is on the bottom. And then I
Dude,
see what adults look like as well for the dark purples.
that's crazy. That's sick.
So that's one of my high yellows right there.
See, that's the one I like. I think that one's my favorite one right now.
So, which is funny though, because that's just a straight up like it's just a high yellow. It's like a line bred. It's had a
I
couple
love yellow.
of selecting the most yellow, but that's just a straight up normal king rat high yellow. Yeah,
Dark
and then
purple.
those are the adult dark purples.
It's phenomenal. This is crazy. Man, you got into a good. Yeah, you did. You got into it.
Yeah, so shout out Calubra, Augusta, and them. Maybe don't talk to her if you're not ready to buy something, because she could sell ice to a freaking Eskimo. She's half the reason that I'm in this, working with these guys in the first place. Once I got started working with them, and then I saw the cool heat that they had, she got me in quite a bit of trouble. So shout out her for sure, because she'll spend your money for you. But yeah, that's that like granite lemon is that last like yellow snake, which like I said, it kind of confetti-ish almost.
I like that.
Yeah, but they're all king rats, right? So they're all the same snake.
See, yellow.
Yellow. We just got to get you some high yellow. Like that's it. That's all. Like, and then it's fun again because you can hold them back. It's good and bad because you're gonna want to hold. You're gonna want to keep like the clutch for like a year because you're gonna be like, I want to see what this looks like with a little bit more.
It's like have to, right?
Yeah, 100%. No, it's like the Great Tree Python guys and stuff that like wait to see what's happening before they like settle on holdbacks. It's kind of similar, because because ultimately you're like, okay, just one more shed. I want to know if it's going to be like a high black animal or high yellow, or like, I want to know, which makes it fun. And also kind of make sure you have, some grow out racks and some space. But I love them. I mean, obviously, maybe I'm hooking some people right now. We'll see. But I love keeping them. So,
Bro, like this episode was awesome because he has all the cool snakes, dude. I want and they're Coluber species, right? Correct.
yeah. Yep.
So
Yeah. So
I
like
love.
my Lyas is basically my pythons, and then my king rats are my Clubers. Yep.
Yeah, that's what I got. Retics and some Colubers. So I got like my hog noses. I got my
There you go.
mutistic rat snake.
There you
And
go.
then I got my male black rat snake that I'm gonna breed to my mutistic. So
Okay. Yeah. Boom.
see what happens.
So let's get you on the king rat bandwagon. I'm just saying, like.
Oh, I got a king snake too, but it's a bandit king snake. So yeah, I definitely want to. Well, now that I know I could probably hybrid, I'll probably put my king snake with my rat snake.
There you go. But yeah. Let's
Do that.
If you like yellow too, I mean, you got to be keeping something.
I'm probably just gonna hit Zach up, be like, Zach,
You know.
what I gotta do for that high yellow, bro?
Yeah, the high yellow with red eyes. I think that's probably my favorite right there.
Yeah. See, and like that's kind of the fun of it though, too, right? It's like that's what you get if you breed hets together, or if you have double hets, or like that's your base animal. That's the base animal you're working with, which is fun because like not to, shit or, on anybody what they like to keep or what they have, but some stuff it's a little bit more exciting if you land a morph versus like the base animal is a little bit more, bland. Hey, shout out Cold Blooded Cafe. I use them as well.
Oh yeah, they're our sponsor.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, where's that 20% bin?
It is. It's actually the name Untamed 20. That's it.
No, I know, but when I saw that, I was like, okay, we gotta have that in the future because Cold Blooded, they'd be sending a whole truck to my house a couple times a year, So
So you have a cold too?
No. I was
gonna say, dang, yeah. I was like, you can use the code, bro.
Yeah,
Because
I need to hop on using the code though. Because half the time I'm like, I realize I have a freezer in my shop now, so
okay.
I don't realize I'm like truly running low, and then I'm like, oh crap, like I need to order. So I'm always hopping on there like last minute, trying to put together a huge order, try and get it to me as quick as possible. But I love them. Cleanest rodents, I would say, that I've seen. So
I went in there to like see how much it would do. So I had like 3 small rats.
Yep.
Like the 20 count, and then I had another 50 count of rat pups.
Yeah.
And that came out to like 80 something. But then when I put the code, dude, it cuts it to like $45. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
So I was like, no wonder that guy messaged me and was like, bro, I be using your code, be saving me some money. So I was like, oh snap.
Yeah. No, shout out. Yeah, everybody, absolutely hop on the code and use Cold Blooded. Yeah, I mean, cleanest I've seen for sure. I've definitely gotten stuff from pretty much everyone, and high quality feeders for sure. The only thing, actually, let me use this platform to complain. Get me some big chickens, and you will have all of my business. I have to go to other places because one of my olive pythons started on chicks when he was younger. He wouldn't switch to rodents, so I have to feed him, good size chickens, and we only got chicks on the site Cold Blooded Cafe. So talk to me, help a guy out, give me some.
So if they got you some big chickens, they would have all your business. You heard this live, guys. Cold Blooded Cafe, you heard this right now.
So
you would have all his business, and he would use Untamed 20 code if you get chicken.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, I'm just putting that out there into the world. They can do with it what they please. But big chickens, at least like 3-4 weeks old. None of this day old stuff. I can't be feeding an 8-foot snake. Come on, guys.
I mean, that's what I do right now. I mean, they eat it.
So mine actually, he used to, and he refuses it now. Nowadays, he looks at it and he's like, "What is this shit?" And then,
but they have like 1 pound rabbits. What about rabbits?
He's foul only. He turns his nose up at anything that's not a bird. Yeah.
Okay. Get it. Got it.
Yeah.
So that's what I got to look forward to.
So they can be finicky to start feeding for sure, but all of my other ones are voracious eaters of absolutely anything. Zero, actually, the albino. I'm a little scared at how large he's going to be because he is my trash compactor currently. He is my, like, if a new clutch comes out and they're not all taking frozen thawed yet, and like a few of them deny, if there's anything extra, it all goes to him, and he eats it without question. So I'm a little concerned. I'm going to have an XL male that's eating me out of house and home at some point. But he's a trash compactor of a snake. I just have one adult male that's chickens only, fowl only, quail or chicks. So
All right, man. We're at an hour and 25 minutes already. Goddamn, that went by quick too.
blowing by.
Right? I got 2 more questions
Yeah,
because I definitely want to bring you back for a part 2. Definitely.
absolutely.
We got to start bringing people back for part 2s because
Yeah.
I was trying to do that too. Because we're already like at our 50th, you're our 51st episode, bro.
Hey, we're breaking the 50 barrier. I'll take it.
So our 51st episode, man, it's been hard work. Let me just say that.
Hey,
Hard
congrats.
work. I had to rebrand, start over, I met Eric. Eric's been a badass co-host. First he was quiet and timid. Now he asking questions. Now he's talking. He's getting out there. I love this guy. Eric, I love you.
Appreciate you, bro.
So, badass co-host. I got another co-host. We call him the mad scientist. His name's David.
Okay.
And when he's on his game. Like he
Okay.
asks you questions. He's very scientific, like
Significantly
scientific.
smarter than me.
Gotcha.
Yeah, both of us. So I love that guy too. Love you, David, if you're watching. But yeah, I love everybody that I've met so far. I love all the guests that I have on because, I mean, everybody's different. Everybody's different. So different.
Yeah. No, hey,
So
I appreciate you guys having me on for sure, and I would absolutely, whatever your other 2 questions are, I'm game, and I'd be happy to hop back on for round 2 at some point if you guys want that as well, for sure.
Bro, so our first question is, well, my first question is, what'd you think of the podcast so far?
Dude, it's been a blast. It's been a blast. I appreciate you guys having me on. Second, I saw the message. I was like, for sure. I watched a couple of your other ones. Some people that I'd like at least seen or followed and stuff as well. Leviathan. Actually, I use some of their shop stuff that they posted on YouTube. They don't know this, but I got some hacks or some ideas off of what they did with their building. I was doing some snooping on people's pages when I went to put together mine. So shout out them with what they put together there. But yeah, I just saw all the positivity with you guys as hosts and all the combos. So I was looking forward to it. But yeah, it's been super fun. I appreciate you guys having me on and let me blabber about the stuff that I'm obviously passionate about with the Liasses and the King Rats. Maybe get that out there in people's space a little bit. Maybe a little bit more aware of it. There's that psychology term where you don't really know something exists and then you learn of it and then you start to see it frequently. So maybe if people are starting to scroll their IG, they're going to start seeing King Rats, maybe olive pythons pop up a little bit more. Maybe they'll click in, give it a like, check it out, check out a species or a couple species that aren't as common in our hobby. So, but it's been super fun to talk to you guys. I really appreciate you having me on to let me talk about it.
Oh yeah, bro. Oh yeah. Hey, if you need anything like reels, I make reels, by the way. Obviously, you saw that.
I mean, if we're not gonna lie here to you, okay? And nobody thinks that we brought me on here because my social game is strong. We all know that, okay? So, Eric was like, he just saw, my social right before we hopped on here, he's like, shit, I've never seen some of this stuff before. And that's because, I'm Highlander rock out here. So, that's something I got to work on myself for sure. And absolutely open to, input or, advice in that arena. I think I'm a little bit better about talking about it and working with them than I am hopping on the socials for sure. That's something I'm a little weak at. And obviously been keeping for 8 years, breeding for 4, and I think I just started that last fall. Once I had like put the building together and enough people had yelled at me. So a little bit slow to the social space for sure. But again, that's
Bro,
what
I'm a good marketer. I'm a good marketer, bro.
Yeah, hey, I saw the reels. So I appreciate that offer and that help.
Like I market for a gun shop right now too, as well.
Okay.
So
Pro 2A here. I will say that. So shout out, good sir. Absolutely. So yeah.
yeah, if you need help, bro, I'm down. I'm down. Like I got no problem making videos, anything you name it, bro.
Hey, even look, we're all green. We're all rocking with the color scheme right now. Even your guys' logo syncing up with mine beautifully. We got the Dominican in the middle. Like this is blowing my mind. This is not my Reno or my space for sure. So yeah, I love it. I love the tapestry in the back. We got the LEDs going on over here. Like I love it. So, yeah, much yeah.
All right. And so my second question is, if you could change one thing in the hobby, what would it be and why?
One thing and why?
Whether it be like reptiles, whether it be negative, it could be anything, bro. Whatever you want.
The selfish answer, it might be Florida legislation, so I can keep stuff that I want to without infringement or laws against it, right? I don't know. You take your pick, whether that's the 1,000 hours for working with a family of venomous before you can keep them, right? So if you want to keep Lapidae, you have to do 1,000 hours with Lapidae. If you want to keep Viperidae, you got to do 1,000 hours with Viperidae, what have you. Some states like North Carolina, you don't have to worry about that. Obviously, berms, retics, etc., rock pythons, scrubs, some of the amhistine stuff, all that's out for us in Florida as well. So that's a very personal one, but I gotta say, I do wish that I love my state. I love being here. At least we are 2A friendly. There's some perks to being here for sure. I love the beaches. Actually tag and release sharks sometimes. We could talk about that in another podcast. But I love my state, but I do wish maybe our laws were a little bit more reptile keeper friendly for sure. As far as the overall hobby is concerned, I think kind of like we've talked about a couple points in this podcast, just people putting fiscal before animals, and take your pick on how, right? Whether that's wild caught imports that need to get treated for parasites, they're just shipping off to somebody that doesn't know any better, to, mites or sub tier, husbandry, in the interest of keeping a buck, keeping more than they can genuinely take care of well. It takes on a lot of different faces, but if there's anything that I kind of hate to see, it's that, because that's just not really like what it should be about as a hobby or as keepers, So that's one thing I could change. Maybe people putting the animals first and in more scenarios rather than the dollar.
Great answer.
Please everyone reach out to Bosa support. Oh yeah, so if you don't follow Bosa's balls, I forgot to mention this. His wife is fighting cancer. Just tell him prayers sent. Like
yeah, absolutely.
Definitely his Bosa reptiles. Sorry, it's not Bosa balls no more. It's Bosa reptiles.
Bosa's reptiles.
He's a good dude, man. He's most positive person you'll ever meet. He's another positive guy. Like he'll just post your stuff and just continue to post till, like, man, like when I say I put out merch, he has my merch before anybody else. Like we always swap merch, shirt for shirt. Like when he does merch, I buy a shirt. So yeah, Bosa, I love that guy. He's like another positive brother, just like Eric. I love that guy. Like, and he needs all the prayers right now that he can get. So
yeah, well wishes over to him and his fam. Seems like sometimes it happens to the best people, but maybe keep that positivity. Keep that positivity that you have, that you're talking about when dealing with something like that. Yeah, fuck cancer, as Benjamin said.
Yep, fuck cancer for real, bro.
He supports everybody, so I mean, if we can, definitely need to support.
Hey, he's in Homestead, Florida, brother.
Okay, yeah, he's in our backyard then. You say Bosa reptiles?
Yes, Bosa reptiles.
Yeah,
I think it's Bosa reptiles, unless he's still Bosa balls, but yeah. No, it's supposed to reptiles with a Z at the end. Reptiles with a Z. But I think Eric always has one question to ask too.
I got two. One can be answered real quick.
Okay.
You
All right.
feeding everything frozen thawed?
Yes. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Thank
And
God.
then
Thank God, dude. I'd be in trouble if I wasn't, honestly. So yeah. Yeah. And I'm not getting to the Rogan game. So nope. Yep.
yeah, same here, same here.
Yeah, hell no, bro. I did it. It stink, bro. Stink.
Yep. Yeah, I like my shop doesn't have dust in it. It's clean. Like I said, I'm kind of OCD. I got a Roomba in that bitch. You know, like a robot
Oh,
vacuum.
I got one too here. I
I
got
got
one too here.
I
See,
clean, I clean cages and then if there's anything, I let the Roomba. I'm like, all right, take care of it. Let's go. Let's get the floors. It's got to be nice, you know. So
clean. Yeah.
I don't know if it makes a difference for the animals, but it makes a difference for me, and I think maybe they like it too. So what the hell, you know? So yeah, no rodents for me. But we're all frozen thawed.
Oh, there it is.
Perfect. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for plugging that for sure. I'll check them out as well because they're in our backyard. But
Yeah,
Eric,
there's a lot of people in y'all's backyard. There's Villarino Reptiles. There's Eric Morse Factory. Uh, there's a lot of people in Florida. Y'all got a lot of breeders out there, bro.
again,
Yep.
I'm in Gainesville, and also if anybody wants to hook a brother up with some hours, I need 500 for Viper Day for that Bushmaster. So you know,
For venomous, right? Because I
yeah,
was trying to think who's the venomous hound out there in
yep.
Florida.
So
Is
just
it
keep.
Tyler Nolan out there in Florida?
Yeah, he's further south than me, but yeah, he is in state.
That's like the only person I could think of.
Yeah. Hey, I'll
And
slide in.
Chandler, but I don't know where Chandler is either.
Yeah, Chandler. They're both in state. All right. Well, if y'all maybe they can watch this podcast now, and then they'll know not a total dork, and then I'll slide in the DMs unsolicited, and we'll see what happens. So,
I hope so.
but yeah, but no. So all frozen thawed, Eric. Rodents. I can't deal with it. So,
All right, and then the second question. Do you have a problem or an experience that like while you were getting your reptile, I'm gonna say it's a house because it's pretty damn big. It's not a shed. Was there like any problems that you ran into that you weren't like you didn't foresee?
yeah. So again, I think doing it over, I have ideas in my head where like a part of me, I have this problem in all aspects of my life, to be fair, but like I've people look at it and they're like, awesome, it's great, you know, but I have those things in mind where like those problems came up and maybe I solved it when I was putting the shed together. But now I think about how I would do it again. And I want to do like 2.0. I want to do another one and I would do it like slightly differently. Um, on the eccentric side of things, I would love to have split heating and cooling so I could kind of keep ambience different between my pythons and colubrids. We didn't talk about this too much, but the king rats like it fairly cool. They're from China and Japan and stuff like that, so they're a temperate species. I actually don't hit my adults with any additional supplemental heat. Um, they are in a spot where sun hits them kind of during the day, so they end up with like an ambient down to like 76, and they end up with like kind of a hot spot on where it gets hit by the sun in like the 80, like low 80s range, right? Like if you actually like laser it. And plenty of people brumate those just like you would some of your other colubrids where it's like super, super cold. I don't do that because I'm in Florida. Our temps don't get cold enough. But they don't mind temperate weather. So I have pythons from Australia and I have stuff from China. I would love if I could like split that down the middle and then be able to get my colubrid stuff, keep the room cooler, and then also get it like super cold, you know, in like the fall, for example, even being in Florida. And then my python stuff, I can always keep warmer. Um, ran into some thinking through my room actually. That's probably the biggest thing I had to like mentally work through is where I put my mini split and then kind of how that whole building cools and where I decided to strategically put stuff to respect the fact that I have species that like two totally separate environments. And being in Florida, like you know this as well, our ambience, unless you want to be poor, are higher than your other states just because it's hot as balls here. So, you know, we're not going to have like 68 or 70 degree like ambient rooms because Thank you. Right? Like our bills would be, you're in the poorhouse. You're not keeping animals anymore. So because we have higher ambience, I had to kind of think through where I put my cages as far as ventilation and where my room is coldest versus warmest, and kind of respecting the fact that like my olive pythons, they're happy to bask sometimes after a big meal at 82. My king rats would destroy their cage, destroy their face, destroy the glass, like get an abscess from pushing so hard if they even experience 92 degrees. You know what I mean? So that was one thing that I didn't really have in the forefront of my mind when I was putting together my building. But then once I started to put cages and stuff in there, and then I started to have a bunch of radiant heat panels on one side, and then like started to deal with temp stuff, that was one thing where I kind of had to rethink originally where I was putting all my cages versus kind of what I originally started out with. And that's one thing if I got to do 2.0, shout out, maybe if we do another episode or maybe a couple years we'll revisit this, I can put another one together. I would love to do like split units almost, at least have
That'd be dope.
separate heating and cooling.
So Shauna,
Shout out Shauna. Dave Palumbo. He's
I know you're talking about. Okay.
so I was gonna say you might know him from the Flexen space as well. But he has a shop and he did that because he has carpet pythons, I think. Maybe he has diamonds. He's got something that he wants to get super cold. So I think he split his shop very similarly to how I would like to if I redid things, where he has like everything that wants to get super, super cold in one area. And then obviously it's cheaper because you don't have to heat everything down or heat everything up, excuse me. But also with your pythons, that way you're saving money because you're not super cooling their enclosures to a 70-degree ambient. So then the radiant heat panel has to be going at, full blast to get them to a good temp. So he's someone to check out as far as like my theory of putting that together. I think he has that set up actually in his facility. But that's something I would like to incorporate at some point as well.
Oh yeah, that's badass. But you can't do it like right now. You can't like just modify your shop right now, or is it already too late for that?
So it's 40 by 16 is my dimensions. So it is super long, but it's not super wide. So if I ran a wall down the middle of it, you would end up with 2 8-foot sections, and then when you add in like a 2-foot cage, right? Like you end up turning it into like it gets a little like coffin.
Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying.
So, and then the other thing is I think logistically I'd have to insulate that inner wall too. So then you're going to add, I don't know, you're going to use R13 or R16. You're going to have to put a bat in there because otherwise the rooms are going to bleed into each other. So then you're going to end up making my shop.
So you really be like, yeah,
it's going to be
okay.
Yeah, you're gonna get a little claustrophobic in there when you're doing some cleaning.
You'll be like,
yeah,
and then get bit. Oh.
Yep, yeah. And then you can't even turn. Yeah, you just got to be like, oh, okay.
You gotta eat it.
Yep.
You just gotta eat it.
Like, all right, I'm getting bit. That's what's happening. So, yeah. But I think if I ever redid it, part of the reason it is that shape as well is because like it matches my house like verbatim. It's like if you look at it, it's all black and white and nice, white people neighborhood looking, basically, right? On the outside, but it's a reptile building. Yeah. It had to match my house. So that's the reason it's also like 40 by 16. If I were to like get another property in the future or whatever, where I could just do a metal building of like my own design, it would be significantly larger. And then we would have a bunch of ideas I've been chefing up. I've been thinking about since putting that one together. So, we'll see. Again, maybe future episodes, we'll get to that point. But yeah, that's definitely, and I definitely have other lessons learned too. If anyone is interested in putting together a building like that, I have plenty of stuff besides really extraneous dual heating and cooling things I kind of learned in doing that myself and putting it together that I'm happy to share if anyone ever wants to kind of reach out to me and ask if you're interested in putting something like that together for yourself as well. Even if it's just a garage, because I got to say, this was actually a conversation that me and Eric had a little bit to start off. I have a shop sink now. I mean, life game changer. Like my favorite, like top 5 things I own almost, the ability to move out of like having like a vanity sink and using like, I was using like my guest bath, tub to clean stuff, and the ability to have like a shop sink, drop stuff in it, have a hose that you can actually like articulate and move.
Yeah,
It makes your life, it's a breeze.
easy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
I
breeze.
need that in here, but I
Yep.
doubt I'm gonna get one in here anytime soon.
Yep. And again, even if it seems a little silly, right? Like whatever stainless steel shop sink, or even go get the PVC ones at like Lowe's or Home Depot or whatever. They're only like $100, and maybe it's like it doesn't seem like that big deal. But I feel like anything that makes taking care of your animals easier, it ends up paying dividends. Because even if it makes it like 5 minutes faster for you, how often are you doing that when you keep animals? It is all the fucking time. So like it ends up adding up. And then the one thing you will do is you're going to kick yourself when you invest in one or you do some of these things, because once you do it, you're like, why have I not been doing it like this for the last year or 6 months or whatever? Like, I have a hose in the building now too, so I don't have to do the little water run with the pitcher or anything. I can just, and it's for like retractable. It's like an air hose in like a car shop basically. So I just pull it out of the wall, run it to the cage, turn it on, turn it off. I can pull it and it'll just retract and I'm good to go.
That's awesome.
Game changer, right? Like
That's super convenient.
game changer, like this is the stuff that like, by the way, buy one of those. If there's another recommendation I could make, on your question, Eric, buy one of those. They're not cheap. The retractable ones, buy it. I don't like put it in your budget. Like start an OnlyFans. I don't like do like whatever. Like make it work. You know what I mean? Get another credit card. Like they're like $200 or $300. Like they're not wildly expensive, but I can't say enough about it because even like again, how often are we putting fresh water and stuff? So getting rid of, even if you get a hose and you have to do this whole shtick, every day, maybe multiple times a day, multiple times a week at least, right? Little stuff like that makes like care easier has been a big game changer for me. And it's something that like I try and pass on and recommend like super highly because I think it's overlooked sometimes,
I agree.
You got some
100%.
ideas. I like your ideas. I'm definitely gonna hit you up.
Yeah.
I
hit
dude,
you
I
up for
want.
sure.
I could keep talking to Zach, but I'm just like, damn, 2 hours long. We're gonna have to come back for part 2 for sure.
Yeah, man.
I'm thinking about the end of the month. How about that? Let's do a part 2.
Yeah, I'm game. I'm obviously.
All right.
Yeah, obviously this was no issues. I appreciate it. It's been fun talking with you guys. I'm sure we could rip off another 2. So yeah, you just let me know. I'm happy to do so.
We could go another hour, but I mean, we're really like people are after an hour. I think people like just stop.
I mean, yeah, you hear me. I told you beforehand. I was like, I think we're gonna mesh. I think this is gonna go well. But yeah, I mean, I got no issues over here. But yeah, I mean, always happy to come back on as well.
But before we get on out of here,
yeah,
everybody always gives a positive message. So what's your positive message for the people watching?
Can we start with me?
Yeah, well, it's only for you.
Oh, okay. Leave a positive message. My bad. I'm with you. I'm with you. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like if you're watching this podcast, you already got some positive vibes in your life. It seems like everything on this page is, kind of has some good feels surrounding it, which I appreciate. It's one of the reasons I hopped on. I would say just know that it takes time. If maybe you're not where you want to be yet in this hobby, give it time. Like it's silly. And it's not the thing you want to hear when you're not where you want to be, especially if you're like me, who's someone that just like, wants to do stuff at a kind of overdone level, and maybe doesn't have a lot of patience. Myself, I know that about myself. But give it time. It's animals, right? It's not an overnight thing, and enjoy the process. I'm really bad about that. As an individual. I'm someone that doesn't stop to smell the roses almost ever. But the thing is like the journey and keeping of animals and like interacting with like species that you've always wanted to keep since you were a kid or that you saw on the internet and you thought looked badass and you saved up and you got the right enclosure and you got that animal. Like that's the whole point. We're doing this in the first place, right? So it can be like a little bit too easy to maybe like look ahead into when am I going to get the clutch, or when am I going to do this, or when am I going to get this, or when am I going to get the shop sink or whatever. And I'm really guilty of that myself. And if there's anything I can say for people, is enjoy where you're at in this hobby, like
Hell yeah.
you get to interact with badass reptiles every day. And if you're in this hobby, you like that. Some people think we're crazy, but if you're in this hobby, you like that, right?
Of course.
Enjoy doing it, like enjoy the fact that like if you provide an adequate like environment and enclosure, you get to interact with this really cool blooded creature that like, I mean, you get a kick out of. That's why you're here in the first place, right? So anything I would say is that it's just enjoy where you're at. No, going further only takes time, but enjoy the process to get to whatever your goal is in this hobby, whether it's getting more animals just to keep, or upgrading the enclosures of your current pets, or breeding in the future. Just enjoy it, where you're at now.
Oh,
Well
yeah.
said. Enjoy the little things.
Yeah.
Dude, I really appreciate you, Zach, for coming on here. I appreciate, taking the time out your day. I know 2 hours is kind of long, but I mean, I enjoyed it, dude. I loved it. Appreciate you. It was nice to meet you.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, no, pleasure to meet both you guys. Absolutely appreciate the invite. Appreciate you guys having me on. Absolutely would love to hop back on in the future for sure, if you guys want that. And then Eric, whether that's end of this month or, whatever, Daytona's not too long. So we'll definitely have to exchange info, and I'll definitely have to hit you up. And
hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, we'll link up for
I'm
sure.
like,
Yeah.
hell yeah.
Yeah.
But on that note, guys, go ahead, Zach. Say what you can say.
Yeah, I just we'll definitely link
All
up.
right, Eric, you got anything else?
Yeah. No, I don't think so. I mean, I've mentioned where you guys can find me. Yeah, and again, just appreciate you having me on.
Eric, you good?
Check on your people.
All right.
Make sure they're doing all right.
Appreciate it.
All right, guys. On that note, remember, check on your loved ones, lift everybody up, never put anybody down. Always stay positive and love each other, guys. Y'all have a good night. We love you. We out of here.